Prepare yourself for Earthling Entertainment, the perfect blend of paranormal and pop culture, with your host, Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Earthling Entertainment with Joe Wakefield and Ryan Lang.
Hey, I'm the host that just came back from peace treaties with the elves, Joe Wakefield.
I was there. I'm Ryan Lang.
It did not go well. So, for those of you joining us for the first time, what we do here is a little bit of the spooky, a little bit of the creepy.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's cryptozoology. Other times we talk about ghosts or myths or legends, but it's always creepy spooky time.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. That, of course, is followed by disclosure discussion. That segment's all about aliens.
Hey, I'm just asking questions. UFO stories, UFO videos, photos. What is the government releasing? What are we asking of them? Any of the congressional hearings? Shit like that. That is disclosure discussion.
That's right. And then the latter half of the show, the second part, if you will, is all pop culture and entertainment. Sometimes we talk about movies or music or video games. We occasionally have interviews or audio dramas, but it's all entertainment all the time. And those two segments together are our spooky and our entertainment. I was going to say our pop culture.
Yeah.
Our spooky and our pop culture come together to make the moon pie of deliciousness known as the Earthling Entertainment Podcast. Welcome.
Welcome, Earthlings.
Welcome, Earthlings. Hey, and for those of you who don't know, which is all of you, I can't imagine any of you would know, it is Ryan's birthday. Actually, it would be kind of creepy. Do any of you know that it was Ryan's birthday? Do we have psychics listening?
I know my girlfriend's listening. And she might be psychic.
At
she
least
might be.
one. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, bud.
Thank you. In the words of the great Randall, 37.
Very good Clerks joke.
Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you.
Speaking of Kevin Smith, the 4:30 movie, do you know about that? That's his new film.
Yeah, well, I think we covered it a couple weeks back. That's going to be his kind of coming of age type film.
Exactly. It's his homage to 80s teenage films. You know, like John Hughes, things like that.
Stand By Me, stuff like that.
Well, like Ferris Bueller's Day Off or Breakfast Club kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, long story short, it has this really cool 4K steelbook that's coming out. You could order it on Amazon right now. And I know you're not big on physical media, but I am.
It's just there's so much, you know what I mean, that I would need to catch up on at this point. I would have to spend a fortune.
Fair enough. But it looks like a VHS tape. And if you open it up, the discs look like reels. And it's really, really cool.
That's dope.
And I'm bummed because they had a really short theater run and it was select theaters. So I didn't get to see it in theaters. But it should be coming out like in a few weeks. And I'm really excited.
Nice. And, you know, like, because you said before that it is impossible to watch Dogma. And you were so right. You literally cannot get it anywhere. And it's like, you know, so it's like sometimes you got to catch these movies when they come out because you never know.
Well, that's the thing about physical media. That's why I still get not everything, but some things on physical media because movies disappear.
They do.
Yeah. So when they released Prey, which was the newest Predator film on physical media because it was a Hulu exclusive, since that's only on Hulu, I was like, okay, well, that could just disappear at any time. I want a physical copy of it.
Gosh,
well,
that's so true.
Well,
you know?
Yeah. Well, now Disney pretty much owns Hulu exclusively, so that's probably not going anywhere, but still.
Right, but no, it is freaky because just we never know who's going to get sold to what, and then you've got like
rights issues.
If it's a Netflix original or a Prime original, it's like, what if they just disappear forever?
Well, you know what? A lot of times TV shows that disappear are because of music rights, believe it or not, because they bought the rights to the music for broadcast or, you know, DVD distribution, but they never made a deal for streaming. So they just don't exist. And that's it's just a lot of weird legalities why movies can disappear. You know, the only version of Dogma I have, to bring that up, is a DVD copy in, not widescreen, the other one, square, whatever it's called. Full screen. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's really interesting. I'm sure if I looked it up on eBay, you could probably buy.
Yeah, for like $50-$60.
Right. They would, you know, yeah, but man, it's just so weird. Just what a weird thing streaming. You know what I mean? Like we all saw it coming, but like who knew?
Well, you know what
that,
else
you
was
know-
hard to find is The Dawn of the Dead by George A. Romero. You cannot find that streaming anywhere. I had to buy a UK import for like $50.
Dang,
Yeah.
that is a lot of money.
Well, no. If you're a physical media collector, you're gonna
yeah.
spend some money. Let
Well-
me tell you.
Everything's double or triple now anyway, so you're right. Actually, that kind of tracks.
Oh man. Well, guys, we're gonna start off today with a spooky stuff. So
That's what-
normally, like I said, we cover some kind of cryptozoology or curse or myth. Today, we just have a fun cryptid spotting, but then we also have 4 classic urban legends that I'm sure all of us have heard of, but we wanted to revisit them since we're getting close to the spooky season.
I was gonna say, I've already been to Spirit Halloween. It's I'm getting in the spirit, getting in the spirit.
They made a Spirit Halloween movie, like the
I heard,
yeah, like the store paid to make a movie.
I
Doc
wonder
Brown
how
is in it. Christopher Lloyd.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Just because Spirit Halloween has brought expensive fun to us all.
It has. As you can imagine, kids are trapped into a store, and then there's a ghost going around possessing the decorations.
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah, as far as a forced movie is concerned, they did try to do something nice. And while I wouldn't give it any awards, I will say, hey, you want to pop something in that's family friendly on Halloween? Spirit Halloween ain't bad. It's all right. Jennifer Lee Cook is in it as well. Not that that matters, just saying.
Can I just randomly suggest another new horror movie that I just saw that I've never heard of before, but I just watched it and I thought it was actually really good?
Yeah, it'd be weird just to say no at this point. You know what? Right? No, Ryan, you can't.
Aw.
You're not. All right. What movie?
Tarot. It's this
The
movie.
tarot card?
It's literally called Tarot. Yeah, it's about tarot card, and it's a classic bunch of kids in cabin in the woods. They find a tarot card deck in a scary little box. The one girl reads the tarot for everybody, and it all kind of comes true.
And now they're all
and
cursed.
Right.
Yeah, doesn't it have the kid from the new Spider-Man, Spider-Man's best friend Ned?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the main character in it.
And he does a great job in it. On it, he obviously he's the comedic relief, and he does a great job at that. And I would honestly suggest everybody, if you're looking for something new for the spooky season, it's on Netflix. It's called Tarot. It's good. It's good.
Well, fair enough. Without further ado, let's jump into a segment we call Spooky Stuff.
The Legend of the Beast of Bray Road. Mark Shackleman arrived at St. Coletta School for Exceptional Children a little before midnight. He carried his flashlight on his belt. As the night watchman for the school, he walked these grounds every night. The school was located inside a former Franciscan convent outside Jefferson, and the grounds covered several old buildings, an orchard, and wide open fields where several old Native American burial grounds had been preserved. The year was 1936.
Yeah, 1936. You gotta give it some old announcer feel. At least for anytime it's the year. Come on, man.
You've got it. The year was 1936. Shackleman was in his 30s, a husband and a father, working the uneventful job for a paycheck to support his family. In rural Jefferson, there wasn't much to worry about save the possibility of a burglar or some teenagers playing a prank. That night... That night, Shackleman was crossing the fields when he saw a shadow. He squinted to see what it was. A hunched form was on all fours, digging into one of the mounds.
For bones, that makes sense. Dogs like bones.
From the canine way that it dug, it could have been a dog or maybe a wolf, but even from far away, Shackleman could see that the thing was far too big for that. Suddenly, it looked at him, and then it stood up. The sleek, hairy body unfurled to over 6 feet tall.
Oh, shit!
It had a shaggy canine face, but beneath the thick fur, the muscular body of a man.
I don't know, I can't comment everything.
A low growl echoed across the field. He smelt rotting meat. His heart...
And Strangely Essence by Jennifer Lopez.
Yes, just a wisp. His heart beating fast. Trying to control his breath, Shackleman stepped back. With sudden violence, the thing turned and ran off into the trees and was gone.
Scamper, 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 scamper. Yeah, exactly.
The
I like the word scamper.
Yes, yeah. The next night, Shackleman returned to St. Coletta for his usual rounds. As he walked the fields, he saw the shadow again, digging into the same mound as the night before. This-
Once again, you got to go back. So clearly he needed something from that. And then maybe it wasn't just bones. Maybe a magical talisman or something.
I was gonna say, like, yeah, a ring or a talisman, yeah, like what's it called? A trinket.
I don't know. But he had to go back for it. Maybe not though, because my dog just buries food sometimes and just continuously digs in the same spot. And we tried telling him that it's carpet. And no matter how hard he tries, he won't be able to get deeper than, the matting beneath. But my God, he still tries.
Don't act like you understand Pogo's ways, man. Don't you judge him. He knows what he's doing.
Oh my God.
He's a professional.
The legend of Pogo on Briar Road.
Oh yeah, Pogo. I don't think Pogo would already be just take off. He knows what to do.
Obviously, so the listeners out there can get an image. This dog, my dog Pogo, he is a red min pin. So any kind of joke where he is vicious is kind of it's unheard of.
Oh, Pogo will fuck you up. Don't you doubt him. Don't you doubt him. So this time he grabbed his flashlight.
Wait, who?
So this would be Shackleman.
All right.
After he returned for his usual rounds, he saw the shadow again digging in the same hole as the night before. So this time, he gripped his flashlight tight, ready to run or swing if need be. Again, it stood up, but this time it opened its mouth. Shackleman saw fangs hanging down from its teeth, and its lips pulled back in a snarl. It growled at him, its speech half human, half beast.
Huh.
He didn't move, and again the creature turned and left. He never saw it again, but the horrendous growl, the way it seemed to speak to him, stuck in his mind for years afterward.
Hold on, though.
Yeah.
I was a security guard, and having a mag light, we weren't allowed to have weapons because we weren't that kind of security guard. It was a museum. It was at night, midnight security. It was an outside museum, so it's not like there's someone can't really break in and steal shit. They're like the houses are the exhibits. So if they came in with a flatbread truck and figured out how to steal a house, I wasn't going to stop them. Is the point?
No, yeah, that'd be a wide load for sure, but yet literally that's how everything was brought there.
Yeah, well, anyways, the only thing I was trying to say is in that situation as a security guard, having like a big heavy flashlight, like you're just supposed to have one. So having the big mag light is the one thing that you could be like, all right, if anyone comes near me, I'll beat him with this.
Yeah, just bah!
I wouldn't want to face what seems to be a werewolf with a mag light. But I will say, you hold that thing and it comes in to bite you. If you can just kind of get that mag light in its mouth and its jaws, that might be the best way to try to like ward it off. Now, traditionally werewolves tend to have like really sharp claws that could rip you apart. So you still might be screwed.
Or you just do a Luke Skywalker to the Rancor. You when it opens its mouth, you just put that shit in there, pry his mouth open.
Hold on. Because when you said that, now I'm imagining like there's a werewolf, right? And you just turn on your flashlight and you just make sounds like
yeah.
And the werewolf's like, oh fuck, he's got a lightsaber. No. He's like, he's got a lightsaber. And the werewolf runs off like you trick him.
Right, yeah.
He saw Star Wars. He knows.
That's true. Everybody's seen Star Wars. Except for the people that were in Star Wars because they lived the Star Wars. But no, I was saying like the bone. He stuck the bone in Rancor's mouth and stuck it open.
Yeah, no, I understood. I understood exactly what you were saying. I was on something completely different.
I know. I'm just saying.
You took like a trek back just to complete that statement.
But I'm just saying that's in my repertoire. You never know. That could save your life. Pry the motherfucker open.
There you go.
Just saying, it worked for a Rancor. So, this legend is the first reported sighting of the creature that would eventually become known as the Beast of Bray Road. Sightings became prevalent in the 80s and 90s, particularly centralized around Elkhorn. One woman reported the beast attempting to break into her home and later injuring one of her horses, leaving a gash across its back.
She was just trying to ride it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you imagine a werewolf on a horse? Now that's some fun imagery. I mean,
Dude.
you've seen monkeys on horses in the Planet of the Apes movies, but I've
Right.
not seen an action sci-fi fantasy where we have an anthropomorphic wolf man on a horse.
I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, you're right. That's funny. That never computed. Like, never thought about once before. Not once.
I mean, you shouldn't base a whole narrative just off the idea of wanting to see that. But that being said, I'm going to base a whole narrative off wanting to see that.
And you could use dragons too. They could ride dragons.
For some reason, a wolf man riding a dragon is a hat on a hat for me.
Like, it works for me.
It
Yeah.
works for you? All right.
Yeah.
For me, it was just kind of like, well, all right. Yeah. Yeah. We'll see
Is
if
it
Game of
weird
Thrones-
that I found that to be an easier vision to make than
Than
him
a wolf on a horse?
than a werewolf on horseback? Yeah.
That's just the sensibilities of the kind of literature and games you enjoy, my
I think
friend.
I think so. Yeah, it's almost like Skyrim has ruined me.
Now I'm thinking of there was this one mod on Skyrim where the dragon had Macho Man's face and would it would swoop in screaming, "Oh yeah!" with Macho Man's face breathing fire.
into a Slim Jim.
That was probably that spawned some of the funniest internet videos I've ever seen. I will be
I
honest.
know that one, and I saw one where they completely just made him Thomas the Train. Like, literally, Thomas the Train came down. Like,
Anyways, back to the Beast of Bray Road.
internet.
Internet.
So she claimed the footsteps it left behind were over 12 inches long. A woman spotted it crossing the road in front of her car. Another driver saw it crouched on the side of the road eating an animal. One young girl reported the beast chasing her through the forest. In 1999, an 18-year-old girl was driving down Bray Road near Delavan when she says her right tire hit something, lifting it up off the ground. She stopped and got out to see what she had run over, but there was nothing there. She looked to the side of the road and saw a massive wolfish form standing on two legs. She rushed back into the car, and as she peeled away, the beast leaped onto her trunk, but slid off on the slick rain, and she sped home. When she came forward with her story, many of the other sightings were reported as well, prompting both further investigation and fresh skepticism and mockery. These sightings prompted The Week, a Walworth County weekly paper, to send Linda Godfrey to investigate and compile stories.
That is a really cool name for a weekly paper. Like, we're trendy as fuck. We're The Week.
That does sound like a trendy ass name, like The Weekend or
Right.
look whatever.
I'm just
like-
saying, when I lived in North Hollywood, there was this little eatery, and it was just called Eat. Like, it was a big
Yep.
black sign with just white letters and like the most boring text going Eat. EAT, eat. That's what we do. We come here to eat. We eat here.
I think that was a Rocco's Modern Life joke too. Like the place was just called Eat, or like Food, just something like that. So yes, now that I'm done with my Rocco's Modern Life reference, wow.
I just had nothing to add. I also enjoyed that show.
Turn the page, wash your hands.
That's right.
While initially skeptical, Godfrey says she came to believe the sincerity of the witnesses who spoke to her. On her website, Godfrey writes, "There is a high probability that everyone is not always seeing the same thing. There could be a biological, physical animal seen by some while others see phantoms or supernatural entities from a variety of sources. A few may be misidentifications or hoaxes." So she literally just took the safe route on that whole thing.
Like, look, I'm not gonna lie. It could
It
be
could be
it could be
anything.
fucking anything. Maybe it's a guy with a fur coat who likes to act like chicken. I don't know.
I seen things.
Could be.
I seen
be.
things.
Perhaps it was 3 squirrels on the backs of each other in a little trench coat.
I seen
Not-
it before.
Yeah, not enough to take out a bank account, but enough to make you believe in Wolfmen. Just saying.
Not enough. Not enough. So, in 2003, Joe,
Ooh.
Godfrey wrote The Beast of Bray Road, Tailing Wisconsin's Werewolf, which recounts in depth what she learned speaking to the many witnesses in and around Elkhorn who report interactions with the beast. Sightings of the beast have slowed down considerably since the 1990s, although one or another still crops up on occasion. The veracity of any of these claims remains a cause for speculation, but for now, we'll leave you with a quote from one of the masters of strange and terrifying.
H.P. Lovecraft. Oh, I didn't know you were going to do that. H.P. Lovecraft.
There are horrors beyond life's edge that we do not suspect, and once in a while, man's evil prying calls them just within our range.
Pa, 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 cha, pa, ta, pa, pa, ta, pa.
Oh, yeah, that was spooky stuff. Now on to more spooky stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was stuck in that beat.
Yeah,
Couldn't get rid of it.
Here,
Couldn't shake it.
How about this one?
I can't shake them.
All right, excellent. Well, that was fun. I actually really liked that one. I first heard that on, I think it was on the Sci-Fi Channel back when it actually spelled out sci-fi and wasn't SYFY. Ugh. But no, when it actually was the Sci-Fi Channel in the 90s, I was at my dad's house and I'm watching the movie, a bunch of late night stuff, and it came up and it was just one of those, is it real or not segments, and I just remember thinking, like, in my head as a kid, I'm like, this is it. This is proof that werewolves are real. I'm gonna, like, because I didn't know. I'm a kid, so I'm like, this is brand new, and I'm like, the news tomorrow is gonna be on the newspapers. Like, werewolves are freaking real. Like, this is happening. Holy God! And I remember I was so disappointed. I woke up in the morning. I tell my dad. I tell my sister. I'm like, did you hear about the werewolves? No, they're real. And like, because I'm a little kid, I just kept elaborating in my head, like, what this could mean.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be this big old thing. And then,
Well, I mean, it sounds credible to me. I mean, we've had big wolves, and who knows, maybe there's been weird, little evolutions that have happened here and there along the way. I mean, America used to have a ton of wolves. We took them out.
true. And you know what? It's also entirely possible that there are people out there who could transform into wolves because of the full moon. I'm just saying, Ryan, prove that it doesn't exist.
I was just about to say, you can't prove it that it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Well, speculating on these creepy, weird things that may or may not exist it invokes the idea of urban legends. And we thought it would be fun to just do a quick little visit of 4 of the most well-known but creepiest urban legends out there. And we hope you enjoy it. So here we go. Ryan, which one do you want to start with here?
We're going to start with, so join us around this campfire as I read, The Liquor.
I do want to say, though, before we begin, I misspelt this in the show notes, and I wrote the liker, and Ryan's just like, the liker, and I'm like, what? It's not the liker, and I was making fun of him. I looked down. No, it was me. I misspelled it.
It's okay, Joe. You're only human.
Anyways, the liquor.
The Liquor. Here's the story. A girl and her dog are home alone. So she has her dog sleep under her bed because she's scared. In the middle of the night, the girl wakes up to the sound of creepy dripping coming from the bathroom. So she puts her hand underneath her bed for comfort and is reassured when her beloved dog licks it. But the next morning, she walks into the bathroom only to find her dog slaughtered and strung up from the shower rod, his blood dripping onto the floor. On the wall, someone has scrawled the message, "Humans can lick too."
I don't know. I always like that one. It's just a creepy idea of like someone sneaking in your house and just like hiding there. And like, in order to know that she puts her hand down to like have this dog lick her hand, that she either needs to have been watched and stalked by this person for a long time, or it's someone close to her. But either way, to have like a creepy person like laying under the bed or on the floor in a position to where they can lick your hand without, because I will notice if people are moving in my room. So that means they're just kind of fucking laying there, just being weird and creepy.
No, I'm not gonna lie. I've never heard that one before. It sounds like a great premise for like a horror short. You know what I mean? For like
I agree.
little, yeah, that would make a good one.
Well, have you heard of this next one?
Oh, of course. I think everybody knows this one. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah.
The Hook. Here's a classic involving a deranged dude with a hook for a hand who goes around attacking couples trying to make out in their cars. Usually, said couples are listening to the radio and find out that a serial killer has escaped a mental institution right before getting slashed to death. Oh, and the killer almost always leaves his hook hanging ominously on the car door.
Blah, blah, blah. But yeah, like we're out there, the couple's listening to the radio. Oh, there's a strange killer. It's not even so much an urban legend as it is just kind of like something they do in every sitcom, Halloween episode, cartoon, like we've gone out to make our point.
I think I remember telling a story before in Scouts, and I think it like basically went along the lines of, yeah, they're making out in the car, and then they start hearing some scratching, and they like don't really think much of it. Then yeah, the radio thing comes on, and they're like blah blah blah, and all of this stuff, and they're like, and he has a hook for a hand, and then they start hearing more scratching, and they finally the girl's like, okay, no, take me home, let's go, and they drive all the way back, and she gets out of the car, and when she shuts the door, there's the hook hanging on the door. So they basically just made it away.
There's also one where they're in their car making out, and the girl's like, "Oh, I heard something," and the guy goes out to check, and then the guy just doesn't return for a while, and she's like, "What's going on?" And then like she gets scared because the dude with the hook like shows up, or there's a big scratch inside the car, or something happens that scares her, and she drives away. And because she drives away, she hangs the boyfriend because the rope was attached to the car and over the tree. And that's what it was.
Oh my
The
God.
scraping on the top of the roof of the car was his legs
his
dangling.
feet. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I have heard that version too.
Yeah, that's one I always liked.
That is
They
a
did a
good one.
really good job in one of the urban legend movies. I don't remember what, but they did a really good job with that scene, that version of that story.
Classic.
Classic.
So I believe this is pronounced Tiki Tiki.
No, I think it's Tik Tik.
Tik Tik.
Yeah.
Okay. Tik Tik. The legend of Tik Tik hails from Japan and involves the spirit of a young woman who was tragically cut in half during a train accident. Apparently, the top half of Tik Tik's body can be found wandering stations in the evenings, and legend says she'll cut you in half if you run into her. So, yeah, something else to worry about next time you're taking the train home.
Well, probably because we're not from Japan. This was the first time I've heard of this one. But the idea of a ghost or I guess, undead zombie type creature that's like halved, like just the upper torso. I imagine the upper torso walking with the hands, right? But the torso where it was cut off is a little bit higher than where the hands are lifting. So you get the little trail of guts kind of there and is dragged along. I'm sorry. That was my visual.
No, that's a good visual. I like it.
Oh,
I'm just like seeing, like, I'm wondering, like, does she like drag herself, like army crawl, or does she like
No,
she like walk
I
like
think
R2 does when he's got his little third arm up?
yeah, I think she walks like that. I think, like I said, she is suspending her torso off the ground using her hands. Like, let's say the torso's cut off just a few inches above the wrist, so it could literally dangle while she walks with her hands. But like I said, the intestines and entrails do fall out at that point and drag along the ground, so you get kind of like a bloody mop looking thing.
Yeah, I want to say that I've seen a clip
It was.
of a
If I was going to turn it into a horror film, that's what I would make it look like, is all I'm saying.
hell yeah. I swear I've seen a clip of a scarer like at like a haunted house who didn't have his legs, like pretty much like really high up. So he dressed as like a zombie, like, and he was like scared people by like just running around using his arms because he had no legs.
Oh, I believe it. There was a, excuse me, there's an amputee in the 2004 Dawn of the Dead movie, and he got to play a zombie who, in the parking garage, is like crawling on top of the pipes. And I think he had no legs, but it was just, an amputee zombie. Yeah, so it was an actual stunt guy.
Well, yeah, and I mean, yeah, if you can get a person missing some limbs, they make a good zombie. I mean, come on.
It's true.
So,
And that brings us to
Yeah.
our final urban legend of the show.
killer in the back seat, high beams.
Oh my God. That sounds to me like an album. Like Killer in the Backseat's the name of the album, and High Beams is the band.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I could, or flip
vice
it.
versa.
Yeah, I almost think Killer in the Backseat sounds like more of a band name.
We should make a band Killer in the Backseat. You already know how to sing. I know nothing about music and have no interest in instruments, so we're starting at a disadvantage. But we should do this, Ryan.
We're gonna make a Planet Piss. We're gonna make a side project.
That, of course, is a reference of the character Murderface from Metalocalypse, one of the greatest Adult Swim cartoons ever created. A lot of those episodes were directed by John Schnepp, the late John Schnepp, who also created and directed and wrote a film called The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened? The story of the aborted 1997 Tim Burton, Nicolas Cage Superman movie. That is called a fucking rabbit hole.
Good.
It's like 6 degrees of separation, like how one pop culture thing just leads into another. We could do it forever.
I fucking love it because yeah, honestly, for us metalheads, like before, like after Beavis and Butthead, there was Metalocalypse. Like we didn't have a whole lot for like our
As far as metal cartoons,
for like something that was actually mainstream. You know what I mean? Like other people actually knew what it was, and it's like, yeah, that's right.
well,
We're out here.
To be fair, Twisted Metal, not Twisted Metal, excuse me, Heavy Metal, the cartoon that was like in the 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
They had a sequel. It was called Heavy Metal 2000. It came out in 2000.
Huh, I'll
Yeah.
check that out.
I'm just saying. Once again, the pop culture rabbit hole. Anyways, here's our final urban legend.
A woman is driving home alone at night. Suddenly, the car behind her starts driving erratically and flashing its high beams. Understandably, she assumes she's being stalked and rushes home, getting her car safely into the garage so that the car behind her can't follow her in. And it turns out there has been a man crouching in her back seat wielding a knife the whole time. And the driver behind her had only been flashing his lights to try and deter him from attacking.
Ooh. Yeah, so basically in the story that I heard, um, someone drives past this girl and notices this person is in the back seat. So they're like, "Oh shit." And they do a Yui. And then it looks to her like now this person did a Yui and is now following her. But they start flashing their lights trying to warn her like, "Hey, dude, there's someone in the back seat. He's got a knife. There's someone in the back seat." And she thinks she's being chased. So as she's trying to get away from this person who's only trying to warn her, that's when in this story, she goes into a parking garage. In other stories, she loses the person, whatever. The point is she gets away only to find out her death awaits her in what she thought was safety.
Yeah, from how I first heard it, it was there was a confrontation. Like she parked, at her place, and he's right behind her, and she's like, blah blah, and she like lied, like I've got a gun, I'll shoot you. He's like, that's fine, but you might just want to take a look in your back seat. And she looked down, and there was like just this smiling maniac with a knife laying in the back. And I know that's a Joe's dying. I know that.
Yeah, I should not have drinking that carbonated water like that. Oh my god.
But I know that that's a very
sucks.
that's a very scary concept for women. I know that a lot of women, it's a very normal thing. Check the back seat, shit like that when you get in the car. A lot of us guys don't understand that. Yeah, there's a lot of fear there. So this story, I'm sure, is pretty fucking freaky.
Yeah,
actually,
yeah. I don't want to be crude, but there are some dangers that we don't have to think about on a daily basis that other people do, and that sucks. That would definitely make this urban legend scarier.
That's what I'm saying.
Giving that context, you are right there.
That's what I'm saying. So this is a really fucking scary one, actually.
Yeah. And side note, the 1998 film Urban Legend actually starts the movie with this urban legend, so it's very cool.
Hell yeah, that's cool.
Did you like the urban legend movies?
You know what? I can barely remember them.
All right.
I haven't watched them in so long that I can't even think much of it.
All right. So the urban legend movies, first one came out around the same time as I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream. Like Scream hit, then I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, and then this one came out. So it was just in that, hey, late 90s slasher thing. Well, on its next one, the sequel, it was called Urban Legend: The Final Cut. I love that one. That one takes place in film school. And I was in high school when it came out and I wanted to go to film school. I did end up going to film school, but it gave me a false idea of the resources that one has while attending film school. I will say that. But in any case, that one was my favorite. Then they did a weird third movie, and that weird third movie, spoiler for the third one, which is called Urban Legend Bloody Mary. But they took it away from a serial killer, and it was a supernatural one with like a ghost involved, where a ghost was actually making these urban legends actually happen. Because there's a few that you can't do with a killer, like the spider one, where someone gets bit in the face by a spider, and they're like, oh, and it gets big and it gets gross, and then they fuck with it and they pop it, and then all these billions of spiders come out as like half their cheek is like rotted away. You remember that one?
I'm literally like, that scene sounds so familiar. Yeah, so I must have seen it.
Well,
Gosh, it's been so long.
They recently did that scene they redid also in a movie called Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark recently.
Then that was it.
Yeah.
Then that was it that I just saw. Okay. But yeah, like, gosh, that's so weird. I can't remember those films at all. Like, I don't know why it like mixes in with like Final Destination, or I know what you did
That
last
is funny because
summer.
that's not even a slasher, Final Destination.
Right.
Well, I love slasher films, and I'm talking pure slasher movies where it's just your dumb characters in a silly situation, and there's one character that's just kind of off in them in really weird ways. I'm just saying, I'm a big fan, so I'm well versed in these, and I think we should do a rewatching of the '90s slasher films.
I'm down with that.
We could do a comparison of the '80s and the '90s.
I just remember that I Know What You Did Last Summer was a slasher, and I know that I remember walking out of that theater like I have never jumped more than like that's all that they did throughout the whole movie was just jump scares. Like the whole movie was jump scares.
Well,
loud music.
Fair enough.
Like just suddenly loud music. And
Loud music, jump scare. Ah!
Like literally that was I Know What You Did Last Summer. It was just jump scare after jump scare after jump scare. And I remember by the end being like, God damn it. But I was younger, so I mean it probably like hit me harder.
Well, no, there's plenty of different ways to scare someone in a horror movie, and jump scares like suspense where you like it's like a sneeze. You need to sneeze, and then suddenly you do. That whole, pressure release of jump scares, that whole bringing the tension out and just letting the release of the it's totally a style. I don't think it should be overused, and some movies do. So I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I think it's time for disclosure discussion.
I think it is time for disclosure discussion. Let's talk about aliens and stuff.
Disclosure discussion. Ha 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 ha. It's about aliens and stuff.
The Ikley Moor Alien. This comes to us from realyorkshireblog.com. Ikley Moor is just one of 14 moors which join together to form the larger Rambald's Moor. For anyone unfamiliar with the term, a moor is an expanse of open, rolling, infertile land. The moors are full of history and have the largest concentration of cup and ring marked stones dating to the Neolithic in England. The moor also has its own small stone circle, the 12 Apostles. But the story of the Ikley Moor Alien is more recent and dates back to 1987. As the testimony comes from a retired policeman, we should take it more seriously. Philip Spencer was taking a walk across the moor on the morning of the 1st of December, 1987, to visit his father-in-law. It was a walk he had done many times before, and that morning he had taken his camera, as he loved taking pictures of the landscape with the early morning light. As is often the case at that time of year, a mist hung over the moor, making navigation more difficult. It was then that Spencer saw a being standing in the mist, at first thinking it was another walker, but on approaching, realizing it was something unnatural and strange. The creature was waving an arm, and apparently gesturing for him not to approach.
Don't come over
No,
here.
you stay there.
Yeah, I'm good.
Stay.
Don't worry about it.
He managed to take a picture, and the creature ran away.
Damn it.
The ex-policeman tried to follow the creature, but claims he then caught a glimpse of a craft with a dome top rising into the sky and disappearing into the distance. When Spencer eventually reached his father-in-law's house, visibly shaken, the village clock and all the clocks in his house were an hour ahead of Spencer's watch, leading him to believe that he had possibly been the victim of an alien abduction.
Well, yeah, that's classic missing time. Like
Right.
anytime you have an encounter, you see a UFO or you might see a creature, and then, when you start paying more attention, your clock doesn't match up. That's missing time. That is you being whisked away.
Maybe it's like some form, maybe there's something like maybe not like a radiation or something like that that maybe these creatures emit and they know it. And that's why maybe it was like literally gesturing, like, stay back. So maybe that could have affected it, maybe it stopped his watch for an hour.
I don't know. It makes sense. I mean, you feel like any creature that develops on a different planet, if it is a biological creature, their atmosphere is different. They
Yeah.
are set to breathe their atmosphere. So
Yes.
what if oxygen is poison to them, right? So it's like they couldn't even come into our world or spaceship. We don't know. So it could work the opposite way too.
Yeah, and these could be artificial beings as well. We've talked about that before, where the Greys are basically they're not really real. They're
Yeah,
more
yeah.
like
But if they're artificial beings, and then that
Well-
wouldn't stop them unless they admit it.
like what? Yeah, what if they run on some kind of
Sure.
radioactive material, and they know that so like maybe like the thing was just giving them a heads up. I
Yeah,
don't
their
know.
version of alien kyber crystals that are the batteries in their gray alien zombie type. What are they? Are we talking biological cyborg or are we talking straight up robot? Either way, whatever they run on,
Yeah, either way.
whatever they run on kills us. I like that.
It
It's
could
a
be a
fun theory.
Yeah, and maybe like I said, maybe it just like stopped his watch for an hour or something weird. So the image which Philip Spencer took appears to show a slightly blurred, of course, 4-foot alien creature. The image has been analyzed hundreds of times, and experts conclude that the figure has not been superimposed and shows no resemblance to any local wildlife. Sadly, Spencer was in too much shock to get a picture of the domed flying machine. I've never heard a UFO called a machine.
Well, I think as a writer, they're trying to not just repeat the word UFO over and over again.
I guess so, but it just kind of came
The
up as odd.
domed flying machine.
Yeah, I didn't
yes.
like that. Yeah, the domed flying machine.
This just did. The domed flying machine has just landed on the White House lawn. Now we all wait with bated breath to find out if they are cool or if they are dickheads.
Let's hope they're not dicks. So, this sighting is just one of many reported UFO sightings in the area, many seeming to happen near the previously mentioned 12 Apostles Stone Circle. But the fact that the story of the Ikley Moor Alien has a photograph to back it up, it is now ranked as one of the top 10 most important alien sightings in the UK.
I mean, that is a very good point because no matter what you think this is, it's not trick photography. There is something there, and no one is quite sure what it is. They're speculating. Some believe it's an alien. I'm not going to try to guess, but the fact is, it's not trick photography. Something was there, and that picture was taken. So, cool. It could be an alien. Why not?
It 100% could be. And I mean, if his story is, let's literally say his story is true. Like, let's say we look at it that way. This dude saw an alien. It told him basically, like, it gave him like a whoa.
Like, stand back, bro.
And then he took a picture and it was like, fuck. And it turned around and ran.
Kinda, yeah.
He takes off after it. The thing takes off. I mean, holy crap. Could you imagine? That would change your life. And why would you just make that up?
Well, there's a photo. So, I mean,
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I'm with it. I love it.
Me too.
Good alien
That's
story.
a good story, dude.
Thank you. So that is this week's disclosure discussion.
It was.
All I can say is if it was not an alien, just to play with, a little bit of speculation here. What if it was like a looper situation and it's him? It's him from the future. And he's like going back in time to witness an important moment in his life. Then he gets spotted. Like, no, don't come. There'll be like a temporal explosion. The whole universe will get undone because two humans can't live in existence at the same time when they're the same person. It'll be a paradox. And he's like, oh, fuck, he saw me. All right, we got to get out of here. And he flies away.
And then when he returns, his life is horrible. It's totally different because he stopped himself because he saw himself. So he stopped himself from doing what he was supposed to do because that was an important moment in his life.
Well, what if the important moment was seeing the UFO, right? So the guy went back to witness the UFO that he saw when he was young, only to actually be the UFO unknowingly. Right. Science!
I mean, you know?
Earthling Entertainment Special Report. Weird Al Yankovic announces his 2025 Bigger and Weirder Tour. Sweet. Kyle Chandler is in talks to star in Lanterns, the Green Lantern Corps series from HBO. Oh, that's cool. And Orphan Black Echoes, the spin-off of Orphan Black starring Kristen Ritter, has been cancelled after one season at AMC. Damn you people! I just started getting into the show! You will regret this to the day you die! This has been an Earthling Entertainment Special Report.
This is it's just some science that we thought was really cool. We wanted to talk about. It definitely goes with the show. It's space related. And in fact, we're just going to call today's segment Space and so on.
Earth will get another moon this month. This comes to us from space.com. This month, Earth will grab itself a second moon in the form of the tiny asteroid 2024 PT5. Unlike the moon, Earth's primary companion, which has accompanied our planet for around 4 billion years, this new mini-moon will stick around for just 2 months before it heads back to its home in an asteroid belt, trailing our planet and orbiting the sun.
Yeah, so I guess it's flying in, saying hi for a bit, circling and leaving. And yeah, I'm a little worried about this. Let's continue.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, Joe. I have feelings about this as well. A team of scientists, well versed in the study of so-called mini-moon events, identified the forthcoming gravitational capture event. They spotted the peculiar dynamic properties of 2024 PT5 as they routinely monitored newly discovered objects for potentially interesting behavior. The object that is going to pay us a visit belongs to the Arjuna asteroid belt, a secondary asteroid belt made of space rocks that follow orbits very similar to that of Earth at an average distance to the sun of about 93 million miles. Research-led author and Universidad Complutense de Madrid, Professor Carlos de la Fuente Marcos told Space.com objects in the Arjuna asteroid belt are part of the near-Earth object population of asteroids and comets.
All right, we do want to mention that if we're not familiar with names that are from other countries, we do apologize. We're never trying to be silly. Sometimes these names are very hard to pronounce for us because we are unfamiliar with the spelling compared to how they're spoken, if you know what I mean.
My girlfriend speaks like fluent Spanish. I know she's going to tear me apart for that one. So I don't know. I just think it's crazy that I didn't know that we've just got like an asteroid belt following us. I honestly really didn't know that. So Marcos explained that some of these objects in the Arjuna asteroid belt can approach Earth at a close range of around 2.8 million miles and at low velocities of around 2,200 miles per hour.
I mean, it sounds like a lot, but still, that is way lower than I thought an asteroid in space could move, to be honest. Because I just imagine they were always just going way faster all the time.
I just figured it depended, like, on its, what's happened to it, throughout its, like, journey.
Yeah, it could be pulled by a big gravitational planet or
hit by
star and circled. Yeah,
collided into something.
Fair enough. Physics. I get it.
Under these conditions, the geocentric energy of the object may grow negative, and the object may become a temporary moon of Earth. This particular object will undergo this process starting next week and for about 2 months, he added.
And this is up-to-date article, so they do mean this month of September.
Yeah. It will not follow a full orbit around Earth. Mini-moon events come in 2 flavors. The first are long episodes during which The asteroid completes one or more revelations about our planet.
Revolutions around the planet.
Yes, with these gravitational engagements lasting 1 or more years. The second type of episodes are short engagements in which the small body does not complete one full revolution. These temporary captures can last just days, weeks, or even a few months. The object is too small and dim for typical amateur telescopes and binoculars. However, the object is well within the brightness range of typical telescopes used by professional astronomers. So I guess that means we can't see it.
Yeah. So here, me and Ryan were talking a little bit about this. So if this comes so close to us that it would be caught in our orbit, and this is not going to make a complete revolution. This is only going to go around like 3/4 of the way, then launch back off into space. And I think it's going to launch back off into space around November or something. But the point is, we were talking like they wouldn't tell us if an asteroid was gonna hit Earth, right?
No.
They would tell us something like this. So that way, if we look up and we see it, we're just like, oh, yeah, that's that weird phenomenon we were told about. Not, we're all gonna die.
Well-
Flip the table, run away, burn the house down.
And there's something just so ominous and just scary thinking about this just gigantic. Like this thing's got to be huge. This huge planet killer of a freaking asteroid just
I think it's as
It's
big
right-
as a stadium.
like-
So I mean, it's big, but Planet
Okay.
Killer, like the one in Armageddon, the movie.
Yeah.
They said was the size of Texas.
okay.
So, I mean, don't misunderstand. A stadium size asteroid hits Earth, we are definitely in trouble because that is definitely going
That's
to make
huge.
weather events. I mean, we're not extinct, but that's not a good thing to happen.
I want to say that's around the size of
2 miles.
whatever that
2 miles is the big enough to kill us all.
and wasn't that like around the size of like the thing that basically took out the dinosaurs, the one that crashed in the
I think that
Gulf
was
of
around, like,
Mexico.
5 miles, but honestly, I'm pulling that number out of my ass. But I
Right,
think it was
right.
5 miles.
But either way, to me, it's just so scary. Like just there it is, just this big ass thing, like right there, could come down and just kill all of us.
Yeah, well, that's why a lot of people believe that we need to, in order to survive as a species, we need to get to other planets and have colonization on other moons and other places because we basically have all our eggs in one basket here. If a solar flare fries the planet or a meteor hits us, yeah, the whole species is dead. If we are correct that we developed on this planet and we weren't seeded by humans in a different galaxy, which is a whole nother theory. But
Yeah. Oh, that is a cool theory too, right? Like that we
we
you
didn't
know,
start here.
we were planted here. Like there are other humans out there. We are a version of becoming interplanetary.
Well, unless we find the spaceships, we could be a colony. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Maybe-
And if that would be crazy. Can you imagine? This would be a fun sci-fi story. Is we find in a mountain or in the bottom of the ocean or something like giant Ark, like Noah's Ark spaceships. And we
Yeah.
assume that it's an alien spaceship. So what we do is we hire this team to go down in this water. Because in my head now it's in the water.
Right.
To go down to the Mariana Trench. See, we're adding to it. This is gonna be a good story, guys. And this rich guy's like, we got to discover all these alien secrets, and it'll help our improve Earth. And once we get down there, we come to find out that all the skeletons are human, and they were humans, and it was an ark from a different galaxy to save us. And we just forgot that we were a colony. That's kind of like the movie Contact. It would piss everybody off. They'd be like,
Yeah.
waited the whole fucking movie to say an alien, and it turned out to be our goddamn father.
Mr. Garrison.
Mr. Garrison.
The rhinoplasty episode.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
But I am just saying that would be like a fun thing, you know. There's this ship, and everyone assumes it's aliens, and it turns out it was just us.
Or just like the world governments at one point just decided to erase that from history.
So
that
they
was
all
our
know
past.
it, and we don't.
Yeah, and
That
it's
would be
just
cool.
an ancient thing. I've always honestly thought that's kind of the way it is. That's why, like, because it feels like we were meant for more, Joe. And I feel like we're oppressed as a people, the Earthlings of Earth. And it's just like you know what I mean? Like I feel like there's lies being told. Like yeah, like we come from the stars, man.
You know what? I'm for it, dude. I'm here for it. But just to piggyback on what you were saying, that is like a really fun idea too. Like, what if everything short of the time you've been alive? Like, what if Earth, the way we know it, started in 1982, And everything before that, everything is a complete fabrication and lie. And the real world of what happened is just a wildly different history. And like everything is different. Like the continents were different. Like people were called different. We're from different planets. We flew in the sky. There was this other race of humans that were half our size. Tolkien would call them hobbits, but we killed them all. Like just this whole big history that we didn't know about. I love that.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But the thing is that the governments that they're lying to us would have to have a reason to lie to us. They would all be about control.
100%.
So like, what would they be trying to keep us from, right? If it was a fantasy film, it would be like trying to keep us from tapping into real magic. If it was a sci-fi
Ooh,
film,
yeah.
it would be tapping into a technology that we once held.
Like a like the ability to communicate with our other colonies.
There you
Like,
go.
Like that there's like this whole ability to do that, and it basically cures cancer, cures everything. Like,
I love it. So there's a whole big space universe of humans and colonies, and we are just this segregated one that the powers that be
yes.
cut us off from the rest of the communities, been lying to us,
Uh-huh.
and now we have our own society based around this lie, when in truth, we are part of like a Star Trek kind of galactic well, not Star Trek wouldn't be an empire, but like galactic society. The Federation exists, and humans are out there. But we're over here in the Delta Zone dealing with these crazy people running our planet.
Worried about money.
Worried about money doesn't even exist,
I
man.
know.
They just barter, and they have like free food and little replicators. I'm going full Star Trek now.
You could just create shit with your mind. That's like the even further ascension.
Oh my God. I love it. All right. So not only is there a human population out there that is far better off than us, they've now ascended to the point where they can create matter using their mind.
Yes.
And with that, we are in our entertainment section.
Music mumbles.
What happened to Richie Edwards of Manic Street Preachers? This comes to us from FarOutMagazine.com. Mysterious disappearances have always had an eerie quality, but the vanishing act of Manic Street Preachers Richie Edwards is a case that can send shivers down your spine. In the bleak midwinter of 1995, between February 1st and the 14th, Edwards vanished without a trace. His abandoned car was discovered near the notorious Severn Bridge, a haunting location associated with suicide. This bewildering incident left his family in a painful limbo, torn between declaring him dead or holding on to hope that he might still be alive.
I gotta say, the most painful limbo I ever did was about 2.5 feet.
How low can you go?
Come on,
Joe, low can you go?
Come on,
Joe.
give me a little credit for that.
I did.
All right.
I sang the song.
All right.
In
For the record, I know that was stupid. But...
In the absence of concrete evidence, Edwards' status remained uncertain for over a decade until, in 2008, he was officially presumed deceased. However,
I mean, yeah, at that point it was, 2008, so 13 years?
yeah,
Someone's missing for 13 years. They're probably dead?
probably. I mean, but that's still just like no closure for the family. That sucks. However, the enigma surrounding Edwards didn't end with his disappearance. In the years following his disappearance in the 90s, there were sporadic reports and alleged sightings of Edwards in various corners of Asia. These tantalizing glimpses of a man who was thought to be gone from the world raised intriguing questions about his fate. Could he possibly still be among the living, hidden away in a shadowy existence far from the spotlight?
Totally. So I've said this before. I never understood how when really, really rich people, no offense if you're a really, really rich person listening, I never understood why people who are very wealthy got so upset when things weren't going their way, when their life was bad. They would, you have the money and the ability to go to a different country, to change your name, and to be a completely different person and to disappear. Because honestly, all that really takes is enough money. You give any country enough money, they'll let you move in. I'm just being honest.
Joe's moved to many countries this way.
No, but I'm just saying. I feel like I could be wrong. I'm not trying to piss anyone off, but I feel like if I go to any country and I had like, hey, I would like to quote unquote invest $500,000 into your government, and it would be nice if I could have a visa for a while. I feel like that deal would be made.
On this episode of I Found Out My Best Friend is Scarface.
Right. All jokes aside, though, this rocker could have done that. He could have been like, I'm out. And he could have just moved to Asia. I mean, they say he was spotted in Asia. So, yeah, maybe he's living a low, like just a chill life. He's trying to hide out.
Do you think he walked to Asia?
So, for those of you who don't know, Ryan just made a reference to the very end of a wonderful film called Almost Heroes.
It's an American classic.
Where our two characters decide that they should try to walk to Asia for a proposed sequel.
That's right. And we're going to write it, and it will happen. And it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. Great, grand, wonderful. No yelling on the boss.
Perfect. Let's jump into our number 2 music mumbles, which is another spooky disappearance.
Where did he go? The disappearance of Jim Sullivan. He has a fun name to say.
Jim Sullivan?
Jim Sullivan.
That is a fun name.
It has a fun ring.
Jim Sullivan. You know what I thought of the other day? So, yes, we are going to get back to Jim Sullivan, but our last episode was called Mysterious Mysteries of a Spooky Nature, right?
Indeed.
So I was thinking of like, damn, I'm going to write a kid's book series, and it's going to start like, it's going to be like a Nancy Drew, like chick detective, you know, like one of those young adult books. And it's going to be called The Mysterious Mysteries of Misty Mysterious. Because Misty Mysterious is, and then we can come up with a stupid, because those books always have a dumb name of why their last name is Mysterious.
Yeah.
All I got to be like, my grandmother was once a magician, so she went by Madame Mysterious, and my family liked the name so much that they got recognition, so we kept it. So my name is Misty Mysterious. Da 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 da. And now we have a fucking mystery. The only thing I can't figure out is, do I want to have this a supernatural series where like the mystery she's finding out actually have some supernatural elements, or are we going full on like real life where it's like, we thought it was a ghost, but it turned out it was Old Man Jenkins from the old amusement park?
I think you should have it be like X-File style, where like sometimes it's fake, sometimes it's real.
Oh, the Mysterious Mysteries of Misty Mysterious. I'm gonna make this, Ryan.
And you've got it recorded now, so you won't forget.
Well, true. And also, if anyone steals it, it's like, hey, guys, I released this episode today, so it's backdated.
Copyright Earthling Entertainment.
Kind of. No.
So
anyways,
back to Jim Sullivan.
Jim Sullivan in Music Mumbles Disappearances.
The disappearance of Jim Sullivan.
Jim Sullivan.
I can't not do it. Stands as an enduring enigma in all of music history. In 1975, while en route to Nashville, the singer-songwriter checked into a Santa Rosa motel, purchased a bottle of vodka, and subsequently vanished without a trace.
Sounds like a hell of a night.
The intrigue surrounding his disappearance is further fueled by the mysterious nature of Sullivan himself. His debut album, UFO, released in 1969, endured its own vanishing act from history. Initially issued on a private label and met with modest success, it soon went out of print. Nonetheless, Sullivan himself never resurfaced, and reports have offered differing explanations for this enigmatic event. Some have speculated foul play and murder, while others suggest he may have intentionally become disoriented to vanish from life. Given the title of his debut album, conspiracy theorists have even posited the notion of alien abduction. Despite extensive search reports, nothing was ever discovered.
Nothing. Well, it was the 70s and people could disappear. But I propose to you, Ryan, that he himself was an alien. Came here on his Rumspringer from Alien Society.
Yes, Rumspringer.
Springer. To make this album, this album called UFO, he was like, this will bring the people together. And then last, it didn't work out. And there was a whole movie's worth of drama and betrayal with the label and girlfriends. And there was
he really liked our vodka.
there was drugs and success. And upon really liking our vodka and deciding to leave, he knew it was over and his folks were coming to pick him up, and Earth had no more left for him. He bought his bottle of vodka, walked out into the field, and disappeared.
Just the sad alien just dragging his bottle of vodka with his head down. Just, I'm all out of love.
I'm so lost without you. I don't know the rest.
Yeah, that's where I was going to stop.
I'm gonna keep trying.
Well done, Joe. Well done.
Yeah.
But yes,
Jim Sullivan was an alien.
Jim Sullivan was an alien. We
you've
figured it
heard
out right here.
here.
Yes.
You sons of bitches.
You.
We fucking have breaking news on this shit.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry, I got a little into that one.
I think it's time for
Headlines.
I didn't know if you had a thing.
Well, I really wanted to do. So Kevin Smith has a podcast called Hollywood Babylon.
Yeah.
And every time they do headlines, it's give me head, give me head, give me headlines, then give me head, blah, blah, blah. And every time we get to the point where we're doing headlines, that always pops in my head and I laugh a little. So that's what you were picking up on.
I like it.
Yeah,
I was
it's time
picking
for
up.
headlines. And I'm
Yeah.
like, giggle, giggle.
I could just see it playing in your head. Like,
It
you
was,
were listening.
Someday we will come up with a catchier like headlines, little jingle ourselves. But like I said, it's hard to come up with something else because that's the one that I always hear.
We'll think of something.
Yeah.
Think of something.
Anyways, Earthling Entertainment headlines.
Netflix's Devil May Cry gets first teaser trailer and release window. This comes to us from IGN.com. Netflix Capcom's Devil May Cry animated series delivered its first teaser trailer and an April 2025 release window. During Netflix Geek Week 2024 Live, the sneak peek was all about introducing Demon Hunter Dante and showing off his sword skills and gunplay, along with a very sinister-looking white rabbit. Dante devotees haven't had a chance to swoon over Dante's dashing look since Devil May Cry 5 back in 2019. Apart from a Chinese mobile spin-off Devil May Cry Peak of Combat, where our boy was not looking his best.
Yeah, anytime they take one of these game franchises and they put like here's the mobile version, the mobile version is never good. They're usually just cash grabs. They're usually just wasting time. I remember back like when cell phone games first started getting good, it was like, oh wow, we got real games on our phone. No longer do we have to deal with Snake. And
Right.
then slowly but surely they just became
They got so bad.
well, they're just microtransactions. It's basically we're gonna make you wait for shit, or you can pay to speed up. Or we're gonna make you level grind. You gotta do a tremendous amount of work to get enough points to get that upgrade, or you can just buy it for $5. And that's what they all became, and it was awful.
Yeah, and just riddled with ads.
Or you could pay.
Right. I guess you could pay. That is true.
But Devil May Cry, the game series, they've had 5 games and they're really fun. It's Capcom. They're action based. They're kind of platformers, but they're more button mash combat. But
Cool.
Just wanted to get us back on topic. But mobile games are terrible. Continue.
Indeed. So the beloved Capcom character is in experienced hands with Adi Shankar, overseeing the adaptation.
The one doing the cartoon, yeah.
He's already taken Castlevania
Did a great job with Castlevania.
from consoles to streaming and built a series around the Far Cry 3 DLC Blood Dragon with Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon remix. He's attached to upcoming Assassin's Creed, PUBG, and Hyper Light Drifter projects, and a remake of the Korean thriller I Saw the Devil.
That was a great movie, by the way. We don't have to get into it, but I Saw the Devil. Good one if you like foreign films.
Okay. Netflix has found success with adaptations of classic video games over the last few years, especially with animated series Dragon's Quest, Dragon's Dogma, Dota, and even Angry Birds have all had their spot on the streaming service. If you've already binged your way through the best of them, more are on their way with Beyond Good and Evil, the Cuphead Show, and an anime take on Tomb Raider, all in development.
Can't wait for the Tomb Raider. Captain Carter. What's her name? So Linda Carter, the character, not Linda Carter. God damn it, Captain America's love interest. Her name, Haley Atwell. That is her name, Haley Atwell. She
Well
is
done.
playing the voice of Laura Croft in that animated cartoon. I'm sorry. That
You're good,
took
dude.
me. It took me so hard to dig that information out of my head. Like
It
I,
hurt.
I wanted to mention it, but I
Like,
swear
it
to God,
hurts.
yeah, that one was rough. All right, excuse me. Haley Atwell is starring in that Laura Croft animated series from Netflix, and I'm excited.
And how?
Done.
Number 2. EA confirms Cal Kestis saga will end in third Star Wars Jedi game.
Yeah, so Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was the first one, and then the second one was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and this is the main character of that game, Cal.
I played the first one. It was great. It was very difficult. The second one I haven't picked up yet because I'm a little intimidated, but I will play it. But the first one was pretty difficult.
Well, it is good storytelling, I'll tell you that one, and it's going to be a trilogy, so I'm excited. That's what this whole story is about, so let's jump in.
So this comes to us from Nerdist.com. Star Wars is all about that trilogy format, so it should come as no surprise that the mega popular video game franchise that began with Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and Jedi Survivor will conclude with a third game already in development. We've known another game was definitely coming from developer Respawn, but we now know for certain it will be the final chapter in the adventures of Cal Kestis. Via Games Radar, we've learned that Laura Meal, president of entertainment at EA, discussed the series as a part of the company's future plans. Here's what she had to say about the eventual final chapter of the series. Over 40 million Star Wars fans have connected with Cal Kestis and his arc of becoming a powerful Jedi. Respawn is working hard to bring the final chapter of this thrilling story to the players. There's no kind of time frame for the game's release yet, so it's doubtful it will be coming within the next year or so. Additionally, they don't have a name for the game yet. Jedi Requiem? Jedi Legacy? Who knows? There were 3 years between Fallen Order and Survivor. Right now, the third game is anticipated as the next Star Wars movie or Disney Plus series.
Yes, it is more anticipated than the next Star Wars movie or series, and that's true. But video games do take a long time. I mean, some of these games, like 17 years to develop. I mean, you never know. Luckily, if it's a big franchise, they usually don't wait that long. But there's, like, I think the latest Doom took like forever to come out. It's just fun.
Well, and I know they just did Star Wars Outlaws, and I know that was released to some pretty critical reviews of it.
I'm really excited for that one. I'm going to play it. I've heard nothing, so I'm prepared to do another Star Wars game.
I'm going to play it too, for sure. I've got Game Pass. I think it's on there. So I'll play it for sure.
Yeah,
And
I don't want to be that guy, but I take every time I hear something negative about Star Wars with a grain of salt
Me
because
too.
it's become the fandom is kind of, I hate to say, but the fandom kind of sucks and people like to bitch a lot. And it seems like every new Star Wars thing, people are jumping on the this sucks bandwagon before they've even watched or played it. And then they're like, I'm going to pick out this one thing I didn't like. And to be honest, to me, Star Wars has been like everything. Some of it's been good and some of it has been bad. But that doesn't mean it's all been crap since Disney. You know when we heard that? We heard that when Lucas did the prequels. Oh, Lucas
I
ruined the
remember.
original trilogy. Come on, guys. Nothing is ruined. Like what you like. You don't have to like every chapter in every single thing they make. And if it ruins your childhood because there was a what was the big thing in the Acolyte? There was 2 lesbian witches made a Force baby, and everyone got pissed off and said it was woke. I'm just saying, if that one thing in that one show ruins Star Wars for you altogether, you now cannot watch The Empire Strikes Back because they did this in that show. Well, I mean, fuck, man. I guess like what you like and don't what you don't. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know either. I don't know. Yeah, I know they're out there, man. And but with Outlaw, not this game we were just talking about, but what I brought up, Outlaw, that got some critical reviews. What I heard, the critical reviews are really only about the gameplay. You know,
That's good.
that. Like, you know, I heard the story. I heard the lore was good. I heard there's a lot of, like you go to Tatooine and you literally can go to the farm. You can go to Uncle Owen's farm and such shit like that. Like there's a lot of fan.
So it's the actual gameplay people are bitching about?
That's it. Just
Is
a
it
lot
weird
of it.
that makes me feel better?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying is from what I heard, everybody's like, oh, it's fun. It's a pretty cool character. You get to play basically as like a smuggler. You get to know what it's like to just be a normal person in the Star Wars universe. You're not force sensitive.
Which that is something I think we've missed. That's why the Andor show is very good in my opinion.
I agree. I can't wait for season 2.
Season 2 of Andor is going to be a very fun ride.
So anyway, back to talking about EA's third installment of the Jedi game. So it says, will Cal Kestis survive the events of the upcoming third game? After all, how many Jedi can there possibly still be in the era of the original trilogy? That's a good point. Between Ahsoka...
Yeah, you kind of have to kill him.
Yeah, between Ahsoka, Ezra Bridger, and about a dozen others, it seems Yoda saying to Luke in Return of the Jedi, when gone am I, the last of the Jedi, will be. That was the best I could do, because it was dying Yoda, so...
By the way, I know Yoda was force sensitive, but like he might have just not known those people. He left after all the Jedi were killed. He may have just not known there was that many Jedi, and the reason why he could only reach out to people like Obi-Wan and stuff is because he actually knew them. So this one always pissed me off. You know what? Characters can be mistaken, guys. Sorry.
Well, yeah, and the dark side clouds everything. We had to remember that.
Everything.
And that's that was the point where like the dark side was at an all-time freaking high. So I mean his powers could have been a little fuckered,
Shitty. My reception is
bigger ears I need. So what Yoda said there was somewhat exaggerated, perhaps. Whatever the case may be, the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor games are so popular that we're pretty sure fans are willing to throw continuity out the window if it means a triumphant finale for Cal Kestis. And I mean, I could take it either way. Maybe he could just kind of pull an Ezra and maybe go to the, the Outer Realm or whatever, like far, far fucking away.
Yeah, I don't know. It also could just be like, you could really, really, really just be a dickhead, because this is kind of what I thought they did at the end of Revenge of the Sith when they said to C-3PO, oh, just erase this one's memory in order to make it logical why he didn't know anything in the prequel trilogy. And it just felt like such a cop-out. Well, you can do that with this. You can actually have the third game into any way you want, and then have it all be a bad dream that Chewbacca had after eating a taco on the Millennium Falcon. And just really just
Could you imagine Wookiee taco farts?
Just waking up just
oh God.
Cal Kestis? Oh, he didn't agree, man. That was just because of the cow custard I had yesterday. Wookiee indigestion making
Watch what you feed your Wookiee. You're stuck in the cockpit with him.
It would be really funny, though, to just do another complete cop-out like that. Because as bad and silly as that sounds, that's how I feel like they did that with C-3PO at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Of just being like, erase this one's memory. Huh?
Yep. It worked for me. It tracks. I mean, that memory wipes are very common for droids and stuff like that in Star Wars. So honestly, I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's funny. Out of all the issues with Star Wars, that's the hill I'm gonna die on.
That's okay. That's all right, man. That's all right. I support you.
Headline number 3.
James Gunn's Superman just got a barkingly big update.
Ooh, you cheeky bastards at Collider.
This comes to us from Collider.com. Although updates have slowed down since James Gunn's Superman wrapped filming more than a month ago, one DC comic book writer just came out of left field to drop an exciting bit of news. While speaking on an episode of the Capes and Lunatics podcast, Superman comic writer Mark Waid revealed that Krypto, the superpowered dog, will appear in the 2025 DCU film.
Finally.
I mean, everybody loves a dog. Come on.
Well, no, all jokes aside, though, he's never been in any live-action Superman movie, because how do you make that work? Right. How do you make a superpowered dog work? Also, there are Kryptonians. There are these human-like aliens in the universe. I could buy that. But you're also going to tell me that independently from Earth, there's also a dog species that grew up to look exactly like a gold lab?
Yes. Without question.
Fuck it. Comics. I'm in.
Fuck it. Hey, they did it with Cosmo in Guardians 3. She was a super powerful dog. I loved her.
Well, that's why we're actually bringing this up. James Gunn made both those films, and that's why this might work.
It'll work.
Continue.
Wade is best known for writing Batman Superman, World's Finest, and also wrote the famous Superman comic in 1996, Kingdom Come. Wade has recently been working with Marvel also on properties such as Daredevil and Captain America, but he's still plugged into the operations at DC. Whilst talking about what he admires about Gunn and is looking forward to seeing in 2025 Superman, Wade had this to say. I like Gunn's reverential approach by and large to this kind of stuff, and reverential without taking it too seriously. I mean, the movie has a dog in it, a superpowered dog with heat vision. It sounds like Superman will have his iconic canine sidekick in the debut DCU film, which is currently slated to hit theaters on July 11th, 2025. Gunn's reverential approach to comic book storytelling is one of the reasons the Guardians of the Galaxy resonated so strongly with fans. He has an innate ability to make a group of misfits feel authentically like a family, and not like a studio is trying to force a family down your throat and make you care about them.
That is a reference to the Borderlands movie. Everyone's been talking that like the Borderlands movie felt like a poor man's Guardians of the Galaxy because they had basically executives taking every cliche they could think of to make that a fun little team, once again, to shove down your throat. Like that is a direct jab at that movie.
Ooh, nice.
Once
I like
again,
it. It's like a diss track.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so it wasn't good, but I liked the Borderlands movie. I'm going to say it again. Not a good movie. I liked it.
I'm sure I'll enjoy it. It looks like a dumb fun ride. If Gunn sticks to what he knows when it comes to the new era of DC storytelling, fans who have been waiting for a faithful live-action adaptation of the most iconic DC characters are in for a treat.
Boy, are they. Is that treat perhaps a milk bone? Crypto the dog joke.
A Ruby snack?
You know, it's kind of funny is when you watch it as a cartoon, the whole Scooby, you want a Scooby snack? Shaggy, you want a Scooby snack? It's like, okay, cool. But then I watched the live action movie and they did it. And while with live action people, it felt very like addict. It felt very like, come on, man. I got the stuff. All right, I guess I'll do. You want a hit? You want? I mean, like it felt really, and it dawned on me that like, oh man, that was probably the reference back in the day too. But it didn't get it until that movie, and I was like, oh, this feels really gross.
Well, yeah, they had the munchies
Like-
all the time.
Like, please don't make me do it, man. I'm scared.
What about
do it
this?
for this treat. I can't say no to the treat. I know you can't. Do what I want, you little hippie bitch.
And I feel like
Bring your fucking dog too.
and I feel like in every episode, somehow they always end up in a kitchen, and they're always just like making giant sandwiches and shit. So yeah, they just like
Yeah,
have the munchies
that's
24/7.
absolutely true. Yes.
Like that happened almost in every other episode.
I want to know is why everyone in the 60s had like everything you could want for the most complete sandwich in the world. I don't
think they looked so good.
I don't have those buns and that cheese and all the fresh lettuce just on hand all the time.
It's like a full, like 2 foot long, like fucking bread. Like they made like all the lettuce and the tomatoes.
Oh my
You
god.
name it.
You name it. And then we get headline number 4.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Magic the Gathering animated series is now in production at Netflix. This comes to us from Nerdist.com.
I want to say that segue to headline number 4 was as bad as a Kids in the Hall sketch. We
Good.
just kind of stopped.
Good. Kids in the Hall was always very awkward. I couldn't really watch a lot of that.
Canadian sketch comedy, man.
It was weird.
It still is weird.
The collective... Okay, I gotta say it now. I'm sorry. The only one that stuck with me was like the guy like attempted suicide, and he's in like the hospital bed, and like his friends are there, and he's like, "Did you guys get the suicide note?" And literally, he's like, "You didn't read it?" And they pull it out, and it's literally like inches thick, like it's huge. And he's like, "You guys didn't read it?" And he was like really heartbroken.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
And he's like, I wrote one for each of you. They're like, each of these are different? That's like the only sketch that stuck with me. I found that to be really funny.
Oh my god, I love that. That is the darkest thing I've ever heard. That makes me
Dude.
very happy.
So, let's
I
restart.
I take it back. Kids in the Hall are the shit.
Dude, that was the one.
All right.
So number 4, Magic.
Number 4.
Number 4. The Magic the Gathering animated series is now in production at Netflix. This comes to us from Nerdist.com. The collectible fantasy card game Magic the Gathering has been an institution for over 30 years. It has inspired video games, comic books, and novels alike. But despite announcing many a Magic the Gathering TV or movie project over the years, most recently for Netflix, nothing ever came of them. Now, Magic the Gathering is back from the dead at Netflix.
What?
The streamer has
Apparently, Netflix is just doing a lot of cartoons right now based on existing IP.
they must have just like good deals with like studios and such like that, right? That they're just like, why not? Let's keep going.
Well, honestly, I think it's because there was a show called Arcane, and that was based on the League of Legends video game. And the first season was really, really good. And it's wrapping up now with its second season, which apparently is going to be released in 3 acts over the course of 3 dates, but all in November. But that show did so well that I think that's why there's a boom now in like these animated video game and other properties. And this, of course, Magic the Gathering is a card game, but it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons that it's transcended that. There's plushies, there's books, there's lore all over the place. It's transmedia at its finest.
Yeah, and I mean, this is a win-win for them either way because let's say it doesn't do like the greatest, it's gonna do pretty good with younger kids. It being a cartoon, right? Like as long as they don't go too high on the rating.
Well,
I mean, on the PG rating or whatever.
Let's be honest, kids are going to watch whatever the hell they watch.
Right.
But what I'd say is fantasy, right? It depends. I loved that when I was a kid. Did you? So did you?
Right. So it might get kids to start getting into it. Now they're gonna sell more starter decks. They're gonna sell.
Well, I mean,
You
that's
know?
the hope, right? You get kids into the world enough to learn the game because I played Pokemon because I was that age for the first generation of Pokemon, 1997 to like early 2000s.
I played the Pokemon games. Hell
Yeah, we played those card games, and I never got into Magic the Gathering because for me it was overly complicated at the time. I mean, now as an adult, I just don't have anybody who wants to play Magic the Gathering with me. But as a kid, I was just like, what?
And it's a little gatekeeping too there because it's like, oh, you're just using the starter deck. Like my deck's gonna cream your deck. Like these people have been like probably spent like thousands of dollars on their decks. Like that, like no joke. It's expensive to get like a lot of the rare, really good cards and
Well,
shit like
I know
that.
you also have to be up to date with the rules because they like update rules. They like retire cards, so like officially you can no longer use certain cards, and there's a lot going on. So yeah, I wouldn't.
It's
There
a
is a little
lot.
bit of gatekeeping in that community, but I would
Yeah.
argue that in most fandoms there's a little bit of gatekeeping. So if you're trying to get into something new and you don't want to deal with that, you got to do a lot of research and watch a lot of YouTube videos before you're going to go out and challenge a kid at the park. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah, because you'll get creamed. So back to this. The streamer has officially announced that a Magic the Gathering animated event series is now in production, with a new creative direction from showrunner Terry Matalas. Folks may know Matalas as the showrunner of Star Trek Picard's popular 3rd season.
Most people say it is the best season of Picard.
I think you've told me that.
You know what's crazy about the Picard show is it is a sequel series to The Next Generation, but each season is its own self-contained story, and each season is very different, like completely different vibes. It's almost like a different show. It feels like a trilogy of movies almost. Yeah.
Huh.
So I'm sorry to go off on a tangent, but that's kind of my thing today.
Oh yeah, good. So he is also the main creative voice behind Marvel Studios' upcoming series about the android Avenger, the Vision. The new Magic the
Vision Quest.
Vision Quest. The new Magic the Gathering event series is made in partnership with Hasbro Entertainment and Wizards of the Coast, longtime owner of the franchise.
Same people who own Dungeons and Dragons, go figure.
Nice. I just bought my first starter kit for that. A few years back, they announced that Netflix cast Brandon Routh from Superman
Brandon
Returns.
Routh.
Thank you, Routh from Superman Returns, and Legends of Tomorrow in a lead role. Only that iteration of a Magic the Gathering's Netflix series never made it off the drawing board. Brandon Routh confirmed to Collider recently that despite recording lines for it, Netflix completely scrapped the version he was in.
Yeah, it happens more often than you think. I like Brendan Routh. I really like the Legends of Tomorrow show. The whole Arrowverse. I fell off. I still got to finish Arrow. I fell off around season. I'm not Arrow. I fell Flash. I fell off at season 5. Arrow. I did watch the whole thing, but Legends of Tomorrow was one of my favorite because it was super zany, and it seems like that show just really leaned into the weird. And when Brendan Routh, spoiler, leaves the show, it was kind of like it was the winding down of the show, to say the least. But he's a good actor. He was also not a bad Superman. It's not, his movie wasn't that good, but that was just from a bad script. The 2006 Superman Returns that the same guy who did X-Men did.
Okay, yeah. I missed him.
Fair enough. You have no idea who I'm talking about. I could
None.
tell. That's what I felt like. I was like, am I trailing off, or did he just have no idea of what I'm talking about?
I was just over here I'm like, I'll bet they're very nice.
All right. Brendan Routh was the vegan boyfriend that Ramona had that Scott Pilgrim had to fight off in the Scott Pilgrim movie. Does that help you?
A little bit, but
Remember,
I only saw that movie once.
Okay, well, he got arrested by the vegan police.
I saw that movie in theater when it came out. I barely remember.
I'm going to find a way to have you know who Brendan Routh is. Now continue.
So this time, it seems production has at least begun on the new Magic the Gathering series project, so it will likely see the light of day. Netflix describes this card-inspired creation as an event series, meaning that there is no guarantee of additional seasons. Event series seem to be the new word for miniseries. We are not sure what the plot of this new Magic the Gathering series will be. We also have no idea which iteration of the franchise they will be drawing from. Also, we still have no clue as to when it's actually dropping on the streaming service.
We don't know anything.
Here's hoping Netflix finally does justice to the iconic game that so many fans love the world over. Magic the Gathering series, here we come.
Honestly, I don't think it's going to be that hard for them to do an adaptation because really you just have a world and you have like a set of rules as far as magic is concerned, but like it's a fantasy. Come up with any fantasy story, set it in that world, make sure you follow the rules they've established, and you don't even have to there is a nerd out there who knows all of this from the back of his hand. Probably works for Wizards of the Coast. Hire him. Make sure you're not breaking any rules and write a kick-ass fantasy show and you'll be all right.
Word.
Yeah.
Just like you got to write that kid's book, you were going to be rich.
Aha! The mysterious mysteries of Misty Mysterious.
So,
I have another one, by the way. It's called Locker Realm. That's
okay.
right. He goes, do you remember band hall in high school?
Yes.
Okay, so we went to a high school. It's Etzel Ford High School. And behind the stage, there is a hall that is connected by blocked by 2 fire doors. So it's one hall, and those lockers were only for people in band, and it was their band lockers. So you can get an additional locker if you were in band to grab your instruments or what have you. But a lot of the band kids would go there and, eat lunch there, and it was kind of like their own closed-off thing. It was the band hall.
Yeah. And it was only attached to the band room and the chorus room, and it had the doors to the auditorium.
Just saying.
It was a cool little and I remember those doors would be locked when we were doing a production, when we were doing something on the stage, like a play, and it felt like kind of like an inclusive club.
Thank you. That's all I was trying to get at. Well, anyways, in this other young adult kids book series I might write, this kid goes back there, and each one of those lockers, it opens up to a portal to another universe, and each book he can go into it and have a different story in that universe. Like this one's a pirate universe, this one's a space universe, and there'll be some weird thing where he is now the guardian of what's known as the Locker Realm, and it'll be called Locker Realm. And I think it'll make it really funny. Like the last guy was the janitor, and he passed it on to this guy, and now the kid's having an existential crisis. Like, what, do I have to get a job as a teacher to now protect this shit? What do I do? I don't know.
You got something there. You got something there.
It was this whole thing. Basically, I've been really, really, really trying to think of like random short stories because we're doing Tattertales again on the show. So we'll mention it again. Tattertales is an audio drama, and it is kind of an anthology. So each story is a self-contained thing. It is now going to be a segment on the show on the fourth week of every month. There's going to be a Tattertales in our entertainment section. And the first one is going to be called Num 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 Num, I'm a House, starring Ryan Lang.
That's right.
And that'll be towards the end of October.
I'm excited for that to come out.
So anyways, as a result, I've been thinking of a bunch of these random stories. So that's why this has come up a few times this episode.
Hell yeah.
And that brings us to headline number 5.
Freddie Prinze Jr. officially joins Sony's I Know What You Did Last Summer sequel film. This comes to us from Deadline. Freddie Prinze Jr., from The Girl in the Pool, Christmas with You, has officially joined Sony's I Know What You Did Last Summer's sequel film, reprising the role of Ray Bronson from the original 1997 movie.
I did not know his name.
And its 1998 follow-up, sources reveal to Deadline. And he's also the voice of
Kanan
Jarrus.
From Star Wars Rebels.
And he gets one line in The Rise of Skywalker or whatever,
where he's talking to Rey when all the Jedis are talking to her.
Yep, he gets one line there. Deadline revealed that Prinze Jr. and his co-star Jennifer Love Hewitt were negotiating to return for the franchise continuation project when it was confirmed to be in development in early 2023. Hewitt is still very much in negotiations to reprise the role of Julie James, we hear.
All right, so she hasn't signed yet. But he has. You know, that'll probably make her sign because, you know, she was, I don't know. You could do a sequel with just him. He was a main character in the first 2.
Yeah.
I don't know. I predict she will sign as well.
I think so. I mean, why not? Make it better. Come on, just do it. The previously announced cast includes Chase Swee Wonders, Madeline Klein, Sarah Pigeon, Tyreek Withers, and Jonah Harking. Plot details for this latest installment are unknown. Jennifer Caitlin Robinson is directing the latest installment of the horror film franchise, written by Sam Lansky and Caitlin Robinson from a draft by Leah McKendrick. Neil Moritz is producing. Sony Pictures will release the film in theaters on July 18th, 2025. I muscled through it.
Yeah, you did. It was good.
Deadline likes to give everybody's name.
They do.
The original film follows 4 young friends played by Prinze Jr., Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Philippe. Of course it's Philippe.
I love Ryan Philippe. He was in MacGruber.
Okay, nice.
And what was it?
That's right. He was in MacGruber. That's right.
Cruel Intentions.
He's
where Sarah Michelle Gellar played that very saucy character.
Yeah. Bound by a tragic accident, who are reunited when they find themselves being stalked by a hook-wielding maniac. Another hook in our stories today. In their small seaside town. I Know What You Did Last Summer, loosely based on Lewis Duncan novel of the same name, was a hit that led to the development of a sequel, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, which premiered in 1998. A direct-to-video third installment of the franchise titled I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer in 2006 is considered a standalone sequel as the story diverged from the first 2 installments and had no original cast reprising their roles.
And I believe it took a supernatural take, much like the Urban Legend third film that I spoke about earlier.
Interesting. Much like the second Terrifier went supernatural as fuck. In 2021, Prime Video premiered the I Know What You Did Last Summer TV series from Sarah Goodman, based on the Duncan novel, produced by Amazon Studios and Sony Pictures Television. The series, which ran for 1 season, starred Madison Eisman, Bill Heck, and Brianne Chu, among others.
Yeah, you know what was weird? They were doing that a lot. They also had a Scream series, but that one lasted a few seasons. That was like 3 or 4 seasons.
Okay.
But it's weird because it said it's based on a novel. Like the first film is based on a novel, and as well as this show. So the show might have actually been a better take than people had given it credit for, because you'd have a longer form narrative to tell a whole novel story, as opposed to a film that has to make changes and cuts. So I'm just guessing. I've never seen the show, but I would argue that it was probably a better adaptation of the novel. I would assume.
And the third film might not have been bad, just doing like the same kind of concept, different people.
Yeah. I will say though that what I just said isn't always true though, because The Mist, which also had a television series, diverged greatly from the show in a way that was just from the book it was nonsense. The show that was a bad show. That was a bad show.
See, The Mist, the movie was sick.
The Mist, the movie was great. You know what's crazy? You know that really dramatic ending of The Mist
Was not in the book.
was not in the book.
I
And,
read it.
Stephen King basically said to Frank Darabont, who wrote that, he's like, damn, I wish I had thought about it. Like, that's a great ending. Because Frank Darabont was like, hey, thanks for giving me the rights to the book, but I wrote an ending. I hope you're cool with that. And yeah, he was. You know what? You know what else is a good show?
What else?
The Last Airbender. I'm just going right in. Here is our final headline of the day.
Headline number 666.
Oh no, why is it evil? I like this show.
I don't know.
Make it happy.
It just happened. I
Aw.
can't stop it. You can't take it back. Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2 casts Mia Ketch as live-action Toph.
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 The character's name is Toph.
I do not know this show.
It's okay.
This comes to us from Variety.
Variety.
Netflix's live-action Avatar: The Last Airbender is back in production for Season 2, with the streamer revealing that Mia Ketch has been cast as the fan-favorite character Toph.
Toph.
In a clip released as part of a Netflix annual Geek Week fan event, Toph's feet are seen in close-up before she stomps down and demonstrates her earthbending. The 17-year-old Ketch is likely best known to audiences as the younger version of Ali Wong's character in the Netflix romantic comedy Always Be My Maybe, released in 2019. Funnily enough, she also played a younger version of Ali Wong's character in an episode of the Netflix series Beef. She also starred in Nickelodeon's short-lived series The Astronauts and had a supporting role in last year's coming-of-age comedy You Are So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. Toph was first introduced in Book 2 of the original Last Airbender animated series.
They refer to season 2 as book 2. Each season was a book.
Born blind to a wealthy and overprotective family, Toph uses her earthbending to sense the world around her. She teams with Aang and his companions in a quest to master the elements and defeat the Fire Lord. Netflix renewed their live-action adaptation of The Last Airbender for 2 more seasons shortly after the launch of the first season. As with the original, the live-action show will conclude with its 3rd season.
So this is great because a lot of times the shows on Netflix get canceled before they can be completed. But when they greenlit a season 2 and 3, it guaranteed that they can complete their story. Now there's a lot less episodes in the animated series, but the episodes are twice as long. So let's say there's either 6 or 8, I'm not sure, but that means there's either 12 or 16 episodes. If you think about the fact they're twice as long, also you're removing filler episodes. So if you're afraid that the show won't translate everything in the show, well, it will be different because it's an adaptation, but we're not going to miss anything. Some of the choices they made in season 1 didn't quite sit well with me, but that's okay. I do enjoy adaptations. You just have to go in knowing that it's going to be a little different. Well, this character that this young woman is now playing is Toph. Like it says, it's the youngest character in the group of friends. And she ends up being the one that teaches Aang earthbending. She is his earthbending master. So an integral part in the group who ends up helping him save the world ultimately. So very cool. A lot of our listeners I know are fans of this franchise, so I wanted to touch upon it a little bit. Ryan has not seen the show.
But I know its relevance. I see a lot of memes and stuff like that people share. You know, I know there's a lot of really deep parts when it comes to like the Fire Nation and, you know, like their leaders. And, you know, there's a lot of like politics and right.
Oh, there's so much. So they had the show, The Last Airbender, lasted 3 seasons. Then they had a sequel series called The Legend of Korra, which followed the next Avatar, and that lasted 4 seasons. They have 5 novels which cover past avatars. They have Kyoshi and Roku and Yang Chen all have novels to their name. And we have comic books and we have video games. So this is a show that keeps being expanded. The original creators of the Avatar The Last Airbender cartoon were a part of this Netflix series, but left during the production of season 1 because creative differences. And I believe they are now, Avatar Studios are now working on doing an animated Avatar movie that takes place in the world of the original series, but when our characters, Aang and friends, are older. And that'll be a film, an animated film. And they're also going to do a series that follows the next evolution of the Avatar cycle after Korra, which is going to be an Earthbender who takes place in a more modern day set Avatar world. So yeah, whole lot of Avatar stuff.
That is a lot of Avatar stuff.
That is a lot of Avatar stuff. But guys, we are unfortunately running a little late today, and we're gonna have to cut it off there. Don't worry, you didn't miss out on any of the show. We just don't have time to have any more banter and have to cut to the plugs. Hey, if you like our show, download the episode. It is the best way to support it right now. Also, if you would like a promotional Earthling Entertainment sticker, you could email us with a mailing address and we'll send one to you. Email earthlingentertainmentpodcast@gmail.com. Also, Ryan has a mission for you.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to share this podcast with a coworker, with a friend, with a loved one, with a fellow Earthling.
Ooh,
That
I
is
love them.
That is my mission for you. Spread the love.
That's right, guys. We're trying to grow our community, and thanks to listeners like you, we are every day. We're getting more downloads, we're getting more listens, we're getting more followers on Instagram, and we have an X account, we have a TikTok account, we have a Facebook account. So we're pretty much anywhere. If you just Google Earthling Entertainment, you could find us, and it's all thanks to listeners like you. So thanks.
Yes, thank you very much for listening. And yeah, my birthday present that I request is please download the episode and share with a friend.
Yes, for all of you who don't know, it is Ryan's birthday. Happy birthday, Ryan.
37.
37. So from everyone here at Earthling Entertainment, see ya.
Bye.